Here at home, the top story that we had been covering was the renewable energy projects here in our region and that in Ticonderoga. The Adirondack Park Agency has not, as of yet, returned my request for inquiry about either the solar panels or the battery energy storage unit systems projects that's being proposed in Ticonderoga. And that to me is very telling for their agenda, that if they cannot answer a basic media inquiry up front and I sent that well over a week ago, probably close to 2 weeks ago now, that the email was sent out to their representative. They did respond by phone when they found out I was with the media. They did not want to answer it, because when I sent the email in response, they have not answered, and if they were not lying, they would have nothing to hide. That being said, they have, as recently as 2024, it was I discovered in preparation for this editorial piece, been investigated for allegations of not only fraud and corruption, but also internal fighting, or shall we say, or internal intimidation tactics against employees. The Adirondack Explorer was the one that was reporting the most on this as it was happening over the last couple of years, although North Country Public Radio and a couple of other outlets picked it up. But this was against, let me see if I can get her name here, Barbara Rice, who is the APA's executive director, allegations that, so about 20 out of 47 employees in a letter said that she cultivated a culture of fear in the organization, and with hurtful behavior and all kinds of allegations of mismanagement, allegations of retaliation, that those who objected to the APA's moving of their headquarters from where it is now in Raybrook to Saranac Lake were retaliated against and were not given advancement or anything like that. By the way, if they had done that in a private company, I guarantee you she would have been fired. I know that, working in the private sector. So the current, this was investigated by the New York State Inspector General. I wrote IG there. I had to remember what the IG stood for. The Inspector General, Lucy Lenny, who, by the way, is a Democrat local appointed official. So if that tells you anything, with a progressive judicial philosophy, and thus, as you could imagine, because of that, was found that the allegations were found to be unsubstantiated, was the exact words used. This was reported again by the North Country Public Radio, and the APA documents themselves that I looked at noted that they were not found to be credible. And so, but the most noteworthy reason why I question the decision of this woman's, this Inspector General, is the way it was worded in the documents from the Inspector General's report, saying that with regard to retaliation, the retaliation that I mentioned to you against her employees who didn't support the move to Saranac Lake. Remember, I said that those who did not support the move to Saranac Lake were more or less retaliated, or you could say use the word discriminated against. Her response was that it was within her management discretion to act in that manner. So apparently, you can break the law if you know the right person. And that is what that looks like by the wording of that report. That is not me trying to be overly critical, but just to say that the language in the report is enough to tell you what you need to know. All of the officials on the APA board, by the way, for those of you who don't know, are appointed by Her Majesty Governor Hochul. She appoints all of them. That is currently, for whatever reason, even though they get to dictate what is done over our lives up here in this region, but we don't get a say in that process at all directly. By this wicked woman in Albany is the one who decides that. 5 of them have to be residents of the park, and to my knowledge, what it looked like, the one lives in Essex County and Hamilton County and a few of the other counties here in the park, but there is no direct election of these people or involvement by the people that actually live here and are governed by the policies that they enact. So what sense that makes? It's instead people that live outside the area and know nothing of the culture of the region.